Two men earn the same salary. One looks richer almost immediately. The other becomes richer so quietly that nobody notices for years. At age 30, Julian and Andre each earn $90,000 a year. Each brings home an illustrative $5,800 a month. Each has $10,000 in cash, no investment portfolio, and the same basic costs in the same city. Then they choose two different lifestyles. Julian builds his life below his budget ceiling. Andre builds the life he wants now and lets financing close the gap. We will follow both men to age 40 and count cash, investments, consumer debt, interest, and one expensive surprise. This is not a contest between a saint and a fool. Andre's apartment is nicer. His car is newer. He hosts friends, travels more, and enjoys things Julian sometimes chooses to skip. Those benefits are real. The question is not whether spending feels good. The question is what happens when recurring lifestyle costs need debt to survive. Here is our illustrative monthly baseline, in constant $2,026. After shared necessities, Julian chooses a less expensive apartment, modest transportation, and a smaller flexible spending budget. That leaves $1,300 a month. He automatically moves it out of checking before it can become lifestyle. Andre chooses the premium apartment, the newer car, more dining, better clothes, and more travel. He also finances $8,000 of furniture and experiences at the beginning. After the payments and ordinary spending are counted, his lifestyle runs about $250 above his monthly income. $250 does not look like a crisis. It looks like a rounding error beside a $90,000 salary. That is exactly why the comparison matters. After 1 year, Julian has about $26,000 in cash and investments. Andre's consumer debt has grown to about $13,200. With his $10,000 of cash, his liquid financial position is already about $3,000 below zero. The visible difference still points the other way. Andre has the apartment, car, dinners, photographs, and stories. Julian has numbers on statements that nobody sees. Now interest enters the story. The Federal Reserve's 2026 consumer credit data put the rate on credit card accounts assessed interest in the low 20s. Our base case uses 21.5%. Credit card interest can accrue on carried balances, and once a balance loses its grace period, every new purchase can become more expensive than its price tag. At that rate, $1,000 carried for a year does not quietly remain $1,000. And a minimum payment is not the same thing as progress. If new spending and interest replace what the payment removes, the balance can grow while every payment arrives on time. That is Andre's trap. He is not missing bills. He is using monthly payments as his definition of affordability. If the payment fits, the purchase feels affordable. But the balance sheet sees the full price, the interest, and the next commitment arriving behind it. Julian faces a different risk. A budget gap creates wealth only if he keeps it. If $1,300 sits in checking, it can slowly disappear into upgrades, generosity, convenience, and forgotten subscriptions. So his transfer happens automatically. The decision is made once, not 30 times every month. By year 3, Julian has roughly $61,500 in cash and investments. Andre's consumer debt has reached about $27,700. Their liquid financial positions are now almost $79,000 apart. But Julian has paid a price too. He has said no to trips he could technically finance. His apartment is less impressive. His car is older. Sometimes he feels behind because social life displaced consumption and hides compound interest. Then, in month 54, both men face the same $7,500 emergency. Julian pays from cash. His emergency fund falls, and for several months his $1,300 transfer rebuilds it before investing resumes. The emergency interrupts compounding, but it does not create a new creditor. Andre puts the emergency on a card. The surprise does not merely cost $7,500. It joins a balance already charging interest. At the 5-year checkpoint, Julian's cash and investments total about $94,000. Andre's consumer debt has reached about $58,000. After subtracting net debt from his cash, the gap between their liquid financial positions is roughly $142,000. This is the moment when many comparisons become unfair. They assume Andre keeps borrowing forever so the chart can humiliate him. He does not. Andre looks at the number and changes course. He gives up the premium apartment, replaces the car when practical, cuts the travel rhythm, and redirects $1,600 a month toward the balance. This is not a painless montage. It is 5 years of sending a large payment to yesterday before he can fund tomorrow. Julian continues investing. His returns are not guaranteed, and the path is not smooth. Our base case uses a hypothetical 6.5% annual return, compounded monthly. Some years could be negative. The model is a planning illustration, not an investment forecast. At age 40, Andre reaches something important: he is debt-free. That deserves credit. He corrected the behavior, absorbed the cost, and finished with his $10,000 of cash intact. But over the decade, about $64,000 of interest was paid or accrued along the way. Julian finishes with about $218,000 in cash and investments. About $60,000 of that total comes from modeled investment growth. The rest came from repeatedly keeping the gap between income and lifestyle. Their liquid financial positions are about $208,000 apart. What about the nicer car, furniture, and other things Andre still owns? Resale values are uncertain, so the main comparison excludes them. We tested a generous adjustment that gives Andre a larger residual asset value. It does not reverse the result. We also tested 3 different worlds. In the scenario most favorable to Andre, investment returns fall to 3%, his card rate falls to 16%, his monthly deficit is smaller, the emergency costs less, and his remaining assets receive a generous value. Julian still leads by roughly $110,000. In the debt stress scenario, the opposite happens: higher interest, a larger lifestyle gap, and a more expensive emergency. The debt path becomes unsustainable even after a major correction. The conclusion is not that modest living always wins. The conclusion is narrower and more useful. When one person repeatedly invests a budget surplus and another repeatedly finances consumption, time compounds both behaviors. One balance grows for the owner. The other grows for the lender. Andre's lifestyle would not create this result if he could pay for it in full and still save at a comparable rate. Julian would not create wealth if he spent the surplus later. The decisive variable is not whether a life looks luxurious or simple. It is whether recurring consumption depends on tomorrow's income. So how do you use this without turning life into punishment? First, define a lifestyle ceiling before your income arrives. Savings is not whatever survives at the end of the month. It is a bill paid to your future at the beginning. Second, separate luxury from debt. A planned vacation paid in cash is consumption. A vacation that follows you home at 21% is a financial product. Third, judge purchases by the full monthly system, not one payment. Add the car payment, insurance, parking, maintenance, subscriptions, and the minimum payments already waiting. Fourth, protect a cash buffer. An emergency paid from savings is painful once. The same emergency on revolving debt can keep charging rent for years. Fifth, when income rises, split the raise before lifestyle absorbs it. Give some to today, some to tomorrow, and some to debt. A richer life should include more enjoyment, but also more room to breathe. Living below your budget does not mean living below your dignity. And enjoying expensive things does not make someone irresponsible. The danger begins when the image of wealth needs a creditor to keep it standing. At 30, Andre looked richer. At 40, he had fought his way back to zero. Julian did not win because he looked poor. He won because every month, part of his income bought freedom before it bought an upgrade. The most valuable luxury was not the apartment, the car, or the trip. It was owning more of his future. This video is educational and uses illustrative assumptions. It is not personal financial or investment advice.